After a couple weeks of pretty poor conditions down here in France, the swell has finally returned. We also got extra lucky because it aligned well with winds finally turning offshore again. And to top it all off, I found what is arguably the best lift I have ever surfed at home. We rarely get waves like this that bend around the sandbar just like you would find at a reef break. It was the perfect opportunity to bring out my new performance board, the Pyzel Mini Ghost. In this video, I'll be taking you through my session, as well as share my first impression on that board. This wave was actually pretty technical. My usual fast and down the line approach did not work here. This wave was demanding pure top to bottom surfing. What I was trying to do is get up and go straight down in as vertical of a path as I could. And on my top turns, I was aiming at staying really close to the breaking lip. I was on the first wave of the set here, and the next waves were much better. The third wave was the best one, but despite its bigger size, you can see how mushy it still is. That's why it was so important to keep everything tight and not get out on the open face too much. Here goes my first good wave. Straight down from the pop-up and looking for a really deep bottom turn. First turn is a bit wide, so I wrap it round to get back in the pocket, and the two following turns were right on the breaking lip. I'm actually pretty happy with this one.
Oh my gosh. That was a bomb. Oh, that was an absolute bomb. It was bending so hard. I thought it was closing out, but it's just bending perfectly around the sandbar.
Another bomb, bending perfectly around that sandbar. First turn is way too wide. I should have either gone for a much longer cutback or just gone more vertical out of my bottom turn. I don't hold my second bottom turn long enough, and the following top turn is way too low. And then I didn't want any of that shore break, so I dipped. Always keeping it real on the channel, so I'm showing you every single wave, even the bad ones. I completely lost the power zone on this one and got out of it. Then on this one, I bailed out of my bottom turn for no apparent reason. I had plenty of speed and I was right in the pocket. The wave peeled perfectly all the way to the inside, but without me. Yeah, I really should have stayed on that wave. Here, my first bottom turn and top turn combo is perfect, deep and vertical, right in the pocket. The second bottom turn is also nice, but I bogged my reel hard at the top and lost all of my speed. I had a very smart approach on that first section, fading the bottom turn a little bit and being super conservative with my first turn. Then I'll wait for the wave to stand up, deep bottom turn and second turn right in the pocket. Super happy with the way I surfed this one. Once again, I bailed on a wave that had some potential. I initiated my bottom turn too soon in the foamy and flat portion of the wave. The inside was all clean and steep, so I should have waited a little longer. Another good wave, but faster this time. I think my wave reading was on point on this one. All of my bottom turns projected me right where I needed to be. The first one was drawn out, second one pretty tight, and then the last one was drawn out again. I'm happy to see that. On this wave, my first turn is pretty nice, and then my second turn is slightly too wide. It isn't much really, maybe a 50 centimeter overreach, and I almost get out of the wave because of it. I do get back into it, but make the same mistake on my third turn, and I can't reconnect this time. Longest wave of the day for me. Let's see how it went. First turn right in the pocket. Second turn as well, but I'm bugging my rails so hard. I'm trying to race the weird section, but I should have gone around it as my next turn was way too wide. But I bring it back nicely and I wait for another section. Nice little wrap and following it with 2 quick snaps on the inside to finish it off. 6 turns on this wave. That's crazy. A double peak on that wave. My first turn is pretty good and I am aiming for a floater on that second section to reconnect, but I have no speed and can't glide on that foam at all. More of a down the line approach on this wave, really getting out on the open face this time, but it worked out for me because I really brought each top turn all the way back to the pocket. I was able to get 3 nice cutbacks before the wave closed down on me. Again, I wanted nothing to do with that inside shore break. That is not me on the first wave, but the guy is ripping, so I kept that one in. He also got a much better wave than me. So yeah, I'm on the very next wave, which didn't give me much to work with. I think I could have attempted a foam climb on that first section instead of racing it. By doing so, I might have been able to get 2 turns on that wave. That wave was pretty nice, but I got out after my first turn. The placement was quite good, but it looks like I hit a lumpy section and I couldn't stay on the wave. We are looking at one of the limitations of this board. Same thing here, I go straight down into a very deep bottom turn, place my top turn in the pocket and wrap it nicely, but I somehow still get out of the wave. That is not me on the first wave, but he got a good one again, so I couldn't leave it out. That guy was riding a Puddle Jumper Pro, coming in at around 31, 32 liters. It's crazy how much more easily he was able to get through those weak sections. Looking at my wave now, first turn was way too wide, but I bring it back nicely. Second turn right under the lip, and then chasing down the last section and hitting it with a wrap. At this point, the wave was starting to get pretty weak. Look at how hard I had to paddle to get into this one. I finally get up and get a nice cut back, and following it with a snap right in the pocket. I finish it off with a cutback while the other guy is doing some textbook carving back there. Apart from the fact that he has better technique than me, it's easy to see how much more glide he has through his turns. Here I took off slightly too deep. Whenever I'm in this position, I never try to climb up the foam and cover some ground that way. Foam climbs and floaters are really good ways to get past sections that have already broken or are too far out in front of you. This wave was rolling nicely on the inside, so had I made that foam climb, I might have gotten some more turns afterwards. One of the last good waves of this session. Very deep bottom into a nice cut back at the top. That second turn was perfect as it kept me right in the pocket until the wave started to wall up and I could try and get a nice snap on the inside. The wave got even more mushy as the tide was pushing out, and it wasn't wrapping around the sandbar as much as it did at the start of the session. So I will now give you my first impressions on the Pyzel Mini Ghost. So, do I regret buying this board? Absolutely not, I do not. I think it is clear how much better my surfing looks on this board. I have never surfed in the pocket like I did on that day. I do think I could have gone up a size or two, as I feel like 28 liters is a tad small for me on a PU. But I don't think that's a problem for two reasons. First, this is my performance shortboard, so I won't get it out unless the waves have got some power to them. And two, the board loves the pocket and honestly only surfs well if you keep it there. So I can get away with being slightly under volume. This is a perfect example of why I would have liked more volume. If the wave is fat, paddling in requires some serious commitment. Whenever it's pitching though, the board gets in super smoothly. My overall first impression is that this board is really meant for top to bottom surfing. It does not like the open face that much. If you keep it in the pocket though, it offers so much control, it's insane. I was able to pull off turns that I've never done before, especially on my backhand, which is my weakness. At times, it honestly felt like I only had to think of a turn and the board would do it for me. To me, this board isn't ideal for fat waves. It worked well for me on that day, but I felt like I was glued to the wave. That feeling is definitely a strength in hollow waves, but it is a bit annoying in flatter sections. These are only my first impressions though. It will take several sessions to really understand the strengths and weaknesses of this board and how to make it work. I think it was a solid choice for the type of waves I surf most of the year. I haven't had the chance to try it out on my forehand, but based on how it felt going left, I think it will go amazing. If you currently own or have owned a Mini Ghost, I would be curious to hear what you think of it and what your experience has been riding it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave a like if you did. If you want more content like this, subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.